Hello and welcome to Homeowner Talk. My name is David Stone and I am the president of Nevada Association Services. And this is my co-host John Leach, who is a partner in the law firm of Leach, Johnson, Song & Gruco. Each episode we'll be here to talk with you about important homeowner topics. We, along with our special guests, are here to provide you with useful information on various subjects.
We also want to encourage you to interact with us and our guests each episode, so please visit our website at homeownertalktv.com and send us your questions. We will try to answer as many of your questions as we can, either on the show or online.
Now, when it comes to protecting yourself, your family, and your home, insurance is absolutely crucial for peace of mind. Today, we've invited Susan Bauman, who is Vice President of Western Risk Insurance, to talk with us about protection in your HOA and your home. Also with us today is David Schissler, Supervisor of the Rapid Response Team for the City of Las Vegas, Department of Operation Management, Maintenance, say that a few times fast. And Jim Smallridge, who is a compliance auditor for the Nevada Housing Division. First, we'd like to welcome Susan. Nice to see you again, Susan.
You too. Thank you for having me back.
It's always our pleasure to see you.
Love to have you here. Thank you so much for being here.
Definitely.
Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and about your company?
Well, I'm Susan Bauman. As David mentioned, I'm Vice President of Western Risk, and we are a full-service independent insurance agency. So we help our clients and find the proper companies with coverages that are suitable to them. And I'm happy to announce that we have a second CIRMS, which is a Certified Insurance Risk Service Manager designation that we received through CAI, the Community Association Institute. So we have now 2 of those in our office, so that's something new, but we dedicate ourselves to multi-housing, so HOAs and apartments, and of course personal lines for the homeowners.
And Western Risk is somewhat unique in having the CIRM designation in this state. That's not an accreditation that you see very often. It's very prestigious from what I understand.
Yes, and it is, there are I believe 2 other agents in the state, but Mark Coleman from our office, he was the first one to get the designation, and now we have Mindy Martinez that just received it. So intensive classes and education.
Sure.
Most of our viewers are familiar with the word insurance. We talk about it with homes and cars and things like that. But maybe we could start off with homeowners associations. When we talk about insurance for associations, what are we insuring?
Well, you have 2 different types of associations. One would be the planned unit development, a green belt, where you have a master planned community with single family homes. And so you really just have common area, maybe sidewalks, walls, maybe common area, swimming pools, that kind of thing. But you're looking at liability and basically the property that's shared by all of the residents. And then you also have the condominiums. And with the condominiums, we have a master policy for the HOA so that it also is for the common areas. But this goes more in depth into basically the stucco out, we say, for the condos. And it's a single entity policy that we recommend our HOAs purchasing so that the community, if something should happen drastically, the community would be built back to original specs. And that leads to the other alternative where the homeowners, a condo homeowner, would want to get their own personal property because all of their belongings from the stucco in would not be covered.
And that's a common misconception I've discovered, is that most people, I shouldn't say most, a lot of people that live within condominiums think that the interior of their unit is covered under the Homeowners Association's insurance policy. And as we've learned, that is not the case. So it's very important for them to get their own insurance to cover the contents.
It's called an HO6, isn't it?
Yes.
HO6, which covers contents of the unit that you're occupying?
Exactly. And in addition, the other thing that people do not think about is there is the deductible on the HOA's policy. And it could be anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000, ranging based on what the board of directors have decided would be best suitable for that community. But if something should happen within your unit, you may be responsible for that deductible. So if you don't have $5,000 to $25,000 in the bank so that you could cover the deductible to have your unit put back together, then you're going to wish that you had an insurance policy of your own so that you're covering that deductible in addition to your personal belongings.
So in my homeowner policy, I could have the policy could include not just my obligations, but it would cover the deductible on the HOA's policy that might be otherwise be my responsibility.
Exactly. So you definitely want our your viewers should definitely be asking their insurance agents about that.
And you can help with determining what your deductible should be, and maybe you can comment on this, what the overall coverage should be for the dwelling, because I mean,
Definitely. I mean, it
wouldn't
depends on,
necessarily know.
everybody's different. Everybody has different personal belongings. Some people might be an art collector. Some people might just have their average, furniture, which is still very costly. And, to put your home back together is very expensive. Looking at how you'd figure out the coverage is definitely by that person's assets, their belongings, but also when you're looking at putting back together a community or a home, you were looking at what is it going to cost to rebuild. It is not what the resale market is on a real estate, what you might get from a real estate agent. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with construction costs.
Well, it still is an individual's greatest investment today, still seems to be their home. And so I guess I was wondering if you have, I know you could share with some of our viewers some tips, maintenance tips that you have for what they can do to protect this investment.
Well, you definitely want to be aware of your water bill, and if you have any increases in your water bill, maybe you have a leak somewhere. A lot of times it is outside, but sometimes we find people have water leaks inside, so that could be a major issue. Some of the, it's funny that you bring it up because our insurance carriers are becoming a little more strict right now. We're seeing rates going up a little bit, and their criteria for whether it be the HOAs or an individual home, they're looking at trees and how do they connect. Like for instance, if you have a tree that's touching your house and your neighbor's house, that's a way for fire to travel. So they're requiring that we're cutting back trees. You want to look at uneven curbs, areas. If you have swimming pools, slip and falls. Really in HOAs, the number one claim is a slip and fall, trip and fall. So you want to be aware of your walking areas, even sprinkler heads.
And you put a lot of this, you're big into the Facebook, so I think you have some of these items on your Facebook that you go over some of these very useful.
We do have tips on the Facebook.
Very useful tips.
What kind of documentation or records should homeowners keep with respect to maybe the possessions that they have in their home? What do you need to have to prove the content?
A lot of times you can get a list, a cheat sheet, so to speak, from your carrier helping you to itemize the belongings that you have and how much their value might be. Perhaps if you have things that are expensive, you're going to want receipts. You might also need to have appraisals. But one of the best things that people forget about is, we're all technically advanced with video cameras and iPhones and so forth, but to videotape your belongings in your home, but more importantly than just doing that and keeping records is to keep a copy of it in a different location. It's not going to do you much good to have these materials in your home when it burns down, because then you can't retrieve it. So you want to have it stored somewhere else. Yeah.
In the little time that we have left, there's a term bundling, where you bundle your insurance needs, insurance, health perhaps. I know you offer some products on that. Can you sort of explain what the benefits of bundling could be to a homeowner?
Sure. We handle all types of insurances at our office, but bundling typically is going to be when you're bundling your auto, your home, maybe a recreational vehicle, and then you'd also perhaps look at umbrella. That's kind of the something that's looking at more now being more important for people because it helps you increase some of the underlying coverages that you have. But when you do that, you're able, when you're going with one carrier who provides all of that, they're willing to give you discounts, and it could range anywhere from 10 to 25%.
That's significant. That's great. And just briefly, any other new products, insurance products that we should be aware of that we may want to touch base with you on?
Definitely. The HOAs, they are being required to have coverage, crime coverage, for at least 3 months of their assessments and the total reserves that they have in the bank. So that's something that it's not brand new, but it's something that they definitely need to be looking at. Another one is cyber liability. There's been a lot more of hacking and vulnerability with any business that has important information, identifiable, to the community residents, identity, social securities. If they're taking credit cards, they need to have cybercrime liability.
Very important information. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us, and
You're
it's
welcome.
good to see you.
Thank you.
You've provided our viewers with some great information. We will be right back with our Community Spotlight.
Thanks. You believe this guy?
Are you trying to start a wildfire? Sorry.
Pass the honey?
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Separate raw meats from other foods by using different cutting boards. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Welcome back to Homeowner Talk in our Community Spotlight segment. We're pleased to have David Schissler, who is the supervisor of the Rapid Response Team for the City of Las Vegas Department of Operations and Maintenance, here to talk about the issue of graffiti, making it and removing it. David, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and your role in the community?
I've grown up in Las Vegas, went to school here. I've worked for the city for around 14 years now. 12 of those years I've spent working in the graffiti removal department. I have 8 full-time graffiti techs that remove graffiti from the city, within the city, 7 days a week currently. And it's a full-time job.
I bet, what's that adage they say, one man's art's another man's graffiti, so how do you decide what's art and what's graffiti?
There's a defining line. Graffiti is something that's unwanted. Art is wanted. If you give permission to someone to paint on your wall, even if it looks like graffiti, as long as it's not vulgar and it's okay to look at, there's nothing, you can leave it there. There's nothing we can do about it. It can be considered art. You can say it's art, so it stays there.
I remember after 9/11, there was a neighbor not too far down from where I live, but a couple of developments down. They had painted an American flag on their block wall. Actually, pretty nicely done.
It's on Craig Road, yes.
Yeah, it's exactly
still there.
Yeah, it's still there. And
Yeah,
it's
I've seen those.
Yeah, it's
I've seen
actually
those.
pretty well done.
Those are
So
It's real nice. Yeah.
So John was telling us a story during the break about how we actually caught a tagger once many years ago, chased them in his
I
car.
followed him, man, in
followed
my
them.
car.
And Tagger was arrested by the police. Now, nowadays, I'm not sure that John would take that same approach to justice, but what should someone do? Someone sees someone tagging, or someone finds graffiti on the wall. If you find someone in the act, what do you recommend they do? If they find something that's in their neighborhood, what do they do?
If they find them in the act, what they should do is call 911. It is a crime. They're committing a crime. Don't approach them. Just dial 911 and call the police and let them know.
So don't chase it. Maybe they should call John up. And have John
just let me
chase
know and
him.
I'll
John
follow
can chase
them.
them down.
Yeah.
Bring your camera.
Yeah.
If afterwards and they see the graffiti, they can call. If they live in the city, they can call our number for removal. They can also call 311 and have a police report made out on the actual incident, which is the best way to do it so that it's documented.
Okay. And you said that you have people, it's a full-time job. I mean, does eventually all the graffiti get cleaned up, or are we seeing it, eventually you'll get around to everything that you see out there?
Absolutely. We usually get to everything. Anything that's reported to us, we usually get to within 24 hours.
Okay.
So, and you said this reported to you, so I guess what I was wondering is the graffiti removal something where you proactively go out at times and just drive areas, or is it just reactive, we get reports, we go there, or is it both?
Oh no, it's very proactive. The city's very proactive at it. Probably 75% of the work we do is proactive and 25% is call-ins. Most of the time when we get a call from a citizen, we've already covered it. We get the complaint, we look, oh, we already did that yesterday.
So if you find a tagging on a community association, very rarely, every now and then I'll see it in the community association in which I live, who's responsible for that? It's part of a homeowners association. Would I call the homeowners association? Would I call the city of Las Vegas to clean this up? How do we determine where we go in those cases?
You could do either or. It is it's the HOA's responsibility to remove the graffiti off of their walls. Usually, most of my painters know their areas. We know where the HOAs are. We've got a rapport with them. We know who to contact within them. We know whether they want us to just throw some gray paint over it to cover it, and then they'll color match later. Sometimes we don't do anything. We just refer it to a code enforcement officer. They get a hold of the homeowners association and they take care of it. Most of the homeowners associations on the valley are pretty proactive with it and have either staff that take care of it or know who to contact to get rid of it.
So you're kind of working hand in hand with them then. You said that at times you'll actually do some kind of a touch up on it and they can finish it up
Yeah.
later just to...
We try to make contact. I try to make contact, and so do my painters. I try to have them make contact with business owners and within the community to, we'll even donate paint to them or removers if they want to take care of their property, help them take care of their property. Because everything we try to do is proactive and to keep the business owners and the property owners on top of their property so that we're not there as much, so we can do other things.
Okay. What about, so if there's an entrance inside the association, that makes sense. So even if it's the perimeter walls of a community that might abut a public thoroughfare, the association is generally responsible for that.
Yes, they're generally responsible for it. A lot of times, though, if it's something vulgar or something like that, we get a really bad complaint about it, and it's facing the city right away, and it's a paintable surface. There's a lot of variables.
Right.
If it's a expensive stone or something, we're not going to come by and paint that because we don't want to be responsible for cleaning it. But if it's a regular painted wall, we'll throw a primer coat on it so that then the homeowner association can come out and paint it back to whatever brown they had it or whatever color it happened to be.
What's the trend in graffiti and tagging? Are we seeing it going up, down, staying the same? And what efforts are being made to stop the graffiti and tagging at its source? What is the city doing as far as stopping it before it happens?
I think graffiti's probably going up. Right now, my graffiti techs are telling me it's the worst we've ever seen it. It's really bad. The introduction of the markers and the pins has really taken a toll on our poles and boxes. They're just markers. A lot of them are going, instead of spray paint, they're going to a marker, big fat markers they buy at like Michael's and different discount stores, and they'll just, they can walk with a marker in their pocket and they can just do tons of damage within minutes. To where before they had these bulky cans of paint, now it's a marker. And then another big thing we're seeing is stickers. Stickers are also considered graffiti, and they're putting stickers everywhere. Stickers on stop signs, stickers on parking signs, speed signs, and covering them with stickers.
And that's dangerous. You put something like that on a stop sign, maybe it's covering it up. People aren't paying attention, so that can be a real problem.
Yeah, that we have to get those taken care of right away, especially on the traffic signs.
Sure. So now what's the city doing then to sort of stop the problem or slow it down?
We try to abate it as quickly as we can, and that's the number one thing we can do to slow it down. The faster we get it taken down, the less glory they get out of putting it up. We have a camera system out there that we installed, a solar system camera system that takes pictures of the crimes in place, and we've had some success with that, catching people, red-handed. City marshals and Metro working really hard. I know that they've been working harder lately at apprehending these people. There's been a lot more cases.
What about the relationship between the various municipalities? You abut North Las Vegas, City of Henderson, whatnot. Do you work together? How are the rules about the same? Is the enforcement similar? Or how does that work?
The enforcement is very similar. I'm sure that there's a little difference to every set of codes, but we all follow the same codes and we follow state regulations. Almost all of us meet generally quarterly to discuss what's going on in our areas. I'll meet with the guys from North Las Vegas. I'll meet with the county. We'll meet with Metro. Usually Metro holds a graffiti meeting every 3 months, and we meet together and talk about what's going on in different areas. We meet with the state and talk about different things that are going on.
But your department doesn't do anything about investigating. If you see a tagger or there's a tagger who's doing a bunch of stuff, your job is cleanup. It's not the investigative part, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, we're there to clean up, and we assist Metro and the marshals in anything that we can assist them with.
Do you have a hotline or a website or anything that people can go on to learn more about the removal and what they can do to report it?
You can go to the City of Las Vegas website and report a problem. They also have a mobile site available, I believe, up there, and we also have a hotline, which is 702-229-6615.
We'll put that on our website.
Yeah, we'll put that up for our viewers.
And you can also...
It's up there, right there.
Oh, there we go.
Perfect.
You can also go to the county's website, and they have a graffiti coalition website that explains how to remove a lot of graffiti as well. We're part of that coalition.
That's great. Well,
That is excellent.
David, thank you very much.
you for
Great
having me.
information. I think now we have a much better understanding of what the city is doing to combat graffiti. That's very, very helpful information, and we can all use it.
That's right. Andrea Behrens, the executive producer of Homeowner Talk, sat down with Jim Smallridge, the compliance auditor for Nevada Housing Division, to talk about energy and weatherization assistance programs. Let's take a look.
Hi, Jim.
Hi.
What is your role with the Nevada Housing Division?
I am quality assurance primarily.
So what exactly it is quality assurance?
I am involved with the inspection and making sure that the homes that we weatherize are done according to the program plans and workmanship's up to snuff. And also am involved with training and some of the health and safety issues that DOE dictates that we offer.
How does the Nevada Housing Division interact with community associations and homeowners that live in community associations?
The weatherization program is primarily a low income, and up until recent years it hasn't really had much of a relationship with community associations, other than that some people that live in HOAs do require permission to put sunscreens on the outside of the building, for example. So that's really the only time that we interact. We ask that they get the blessings of their HOAs before we do anything like that.
And even with the weatherization in community associations now, with the economy changing, do you see more?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, last few years we've seen quite a few. Well, they also raised the income eligibility requirements, so we saw a larger segment of the population able to qualify for weatherization services.
So if you qualify for the services, exactly what kind of services do you offer?
Weatherization is kind of a term that not a lot of people understand, and it doesn't really explain itself. Building performance is a better way to describe what we do, what we look for. The biggest thing that we offer that a lot of other contractors don't is that we can test the house for air leakage. We have machines that measure how much air the house leaks, how much air the duct system leaks, and then we make improvements according to whatever they need. Other measures are, your water conservation, compact fluorescent light bulbs, relatively minor things, sunscreens, but the big items are controlling the amount of air that comes and goes out of the house.
So do you come in and do those services for free, or is it?
Yeah, it's income qualified, and there's a threshold, eligibility threshold, that if you're below that, then everything that we offer is no cost to the homeowner.
That's great.
Or occupant.
Right. Is there accreditation that these contractors have to have? How would the average homeowner know that this contractor is certified or is accredited to provide these services, or to give you information? They're not just coming in and saying, oh, you need to do A, B, and C, and
right.
You really don't need B, maybe.
The service actually will do an inspection on the house, and then give you a menu of things that are necessary or doable on the house, and then the homeowner, or in some cases, if it's undergoing financing, if you're going to refinance or initially finance, you can apply for additional loan amount to cover the energy conservation improvements on there. So that's been in place for years. It's the ResNet or HERS rating. To answer your question about who is certified or qualified, anybody that's gone to the trouble to get certified is going to be proud enough to advertise it. So let the homeowners just check references and ask for certifications when they go to look for someone to do the work. A lot of that's word of mouth too. Word gets around as to who provides those kind of services.
Well, perfect. We appreciate you being here, Jim, and thank you very much for your information.
Thank you.
It's great to have that sort of information. We'll be right back with a viewer question.
I'll never let Movement. Along with weight loss, it's one of the many ways to fight osteoarthritis pain. For more information on managing pain, go to fightarthritispain.org.
Welcome back to Homeowner Talk. It's now time for our viewer question, which comes from Lee. He asks, on average, what percentage of homeowners actually vote for their representatives on the HOA board, and how do board members vote on issues within the HOA? Personal interest or what their neighbors want? And what happens when those two interests are not aligned? John, that's quite a question.
A couple of questions
for
in
it.
there. First off, on the average, most associations are filled with apathy, and you very rarely find that people are involved. But if you look at our political arena, you would say that, 20% of the people or less are involved in electing our politicians, and I would say that we're lucky if we hit that number in many situations. There are some associations, usually our age-restricted communities, where the seniors tend to be more involved and more active in participating in elections, and so they get more involved and they get higher percentages in those communities. But in most of the others, we see the same apathy that you see in our political arena.
Yeah, despite what you see in the news and everything, there's not a lot of adversity within homeowners associations. A lot of that is just because people don't care. Most of them are happy where they live, and they're just
a lot of
just not
complacency,
there.
a lot of contentment. Most homeowners would buy in an association, again, by a staggeringly high percentage. So, and then as far as a board member has a fiduciary duty to act what's in the best interest of the community, to act on an informed basis and in good faith and the honest belief that their decisions are in the best interest of the community. They should be, I always say the mantra is protect, maintain, and enhance value, and preserve health, safety, welfare of the residents. So that should be the basis of their decisions. But you all know that people have their own opinions. There's nothing wrong with having an opinion, but you do need to make sure that you can see in good faith that your decision making is in the best interest of the community as a whole, and not just your best interest. That would be a conflict at times, and you'd have to perhaps recuse yourself from participation. But there are times when your personal interest is not aligned with the best interest of the association. That's a problem for board members. They need to be aware of that, disclose it, and perhaps not participate when that happens. But otherwise, most of our board members are very honorable, good people who are doing the best they can to protect their residents and preserve the value, and that's how their decisions should be made.
And have attended hundreds and hundreds of board meetings, I find the same. Most people are very well intentioned and they try their best, despite what is said out there in the public.
Correct.
Thanks, John. We would like to thank our guests today, Susan Bauman, David Schissler, and Jim Smallridge.
And that's all for this edition of Homeowner Talk. We'd like to thank all of our partners on this show: HOA Management, Alliance Association Financial Services, Classic Landscapes LLC, GetDocsNow.com, Western Risk Insurance, and Nevada Association Services, Inc. Remember, you can always find information about this program, and you can also drop us a line at HomeownerTalkTV.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on Homeowner Talk.